Welcome to the Government News Brief. It is Wednesday, November 9th, 2016. In the news, Sophia's water supply to soon improve, government taking necessary steps to protect citizens from crimes, and young businesswomen to benefit from the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM drive. Stay tuned for the details. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur, and now for the details. The Guyana Water Incorporated, GWI, is continuing efforts to improve Sophia's water supply. Zanil Williams has the details.
GWI's Managing Director, Dr. Richard Van West Charles, says that by next week, D&E fields will have water supply for the first time in years.
This is because of some good work done by our staff, our engineers, the refurbishment of the well at Turkine, the refurbishment of a well at North Rheinveld, and putting new transmission lines from North Rheinveld to Sophia and from Turkine to Sophia and connecting.
Dr. Van West Charles notes that 20,000 Sophia residents are expected to benefit. GWI is working to strengthen infrastructure to supply communities in and around the area, the CEO says.
In a project, Jai, that we are finalizing, it is expected to put another well in Sophia, and then in addition to that, we're about to sign a contract for the rehabilitation of Cummins Lodge, and once that becomes successful, that whole corridor would be adequately served.
The CEO added that the GWI is working to ensure that good quality water is supplied to the second floor of residences' homes. Meanwhile, the GWI has been distributing filters to hinterland communities that do not have access to potable water to reduce instances of water contamination.
We did share out in Riverview in the Essequibo River, Carao and Camarang, and the other two communities in Camarang. We have ready to go to Baracara and in Baimadai, right? Because we understand there are some issues up there.
GWI is seeking to establish wells in several communities as part of its 5-year strategic plan. I am Zanil Williams for the Government News Brief.
Government will do what is necessary to stem the prevalence of guns and gun crimes as it seeks to protect all citizens. Here is more from Paul McAdam.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman has disagreed with the claims that the responsibility for the crime spate rests solely with government. During the November 4 parliamentary sitting, the minister pointed out that many of the youths who are committing crimes grew up under the previous administration.
We are now inheriting, Mr. Speaker, the lawlessness and much of the lawlessness that was allowed to thrive. I don't understand as a lawyer myself what is happening. When I first came to the bar, a criminal, Mr. Speaker, with respect, was an identifiable person. Now, there are 14-year-olds who are killing. They weren't born when the AP and UAFC government took over.
The minister added that President David Granger does not need to be lectured on security.
He is, in and of himself, a world-recognized security expert who has been invited to give lectures, to be a professor at the Center for Hemispheric Defense Studies, has, Mr. Speaker, been consulted. His statements are being, as is normal, deliberately misinterpreted.
The recent statements by the head of state on crime, he added, have been deliberately misinterpreted. President Granger had called for an end to the issuance of multiple private gun licenses.
There are people in this country, Mr. Speaker, who carry licenses for 10, 15, and 20 firearms. Those are the persons who will be targeted, because the statistics show that firearms recovered from criminals, many of them we are finding are being firearms that were stolen from households, and people who have been given licenses and have left them carelessly and they have been lost. Why do you need 16 firearm licenses if you are one standing person? Why do you need, Mr. Speaker, high caliber assault rifles in this country? We have a military, we have a police force. It is our duty to protect the citizens, but we will not, Mr. Speaker, allow private armies to reign in this country.
President Granger says he would like to see fewer weapons in the hands of private citizens and that weapons should be used by law enforcement agencies. The president says that government will try to detect people coming into the country with illegal firearms, and a plethora of measures will be implemented, adding that government's policy is aimed at getting guns off the streets and leaving them mostly in the hands of the police and the army. Paul McAdam, Government News Brief.
Young businesswomen are to benefit from the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM drive through the First Lady's intervention. Neola Damon tells us more.
Businesswomen are empowered through the Self-Reliance and Success in Business Workshop, an initiative of the First Lady, Sandra Granger, in collaboration with other partners. Mrs. Granger is now working to ensure stakeholders can access services through the STEM program, which will make them more efficient business individuals.
Young businesswomen who might want to go on their phones and find out something about, marketing or packaging or, placement of product and the rest of it. So I started thinking about a long-term STEM project. And hopefully once I get my foundation set up, I will have with me the skills on board to take it forward, and we can plan. So it wouldn't be me in my little room deciding these things by myself, but I think get good advice on how we can move forward with it.
Meanwhile, youths who have benefited from the STEM Guyana robotic camps along the East Coast will soon have robotic educational kits, which will further explore the STEM education drive, First Lady Granger explains.
I got enough money to be able to buy 2 robot kits. So I've asked someone to bring them in for me, and I'll give 1 each. 1 to Buxton, 1 to Louisiana, so the kids will have it. Because that is another area where our kids need to have that spark in education. And it was beautiful to see how these young children, 10 to 14 years, who had never seen a robot, much less a robot kit, before in their lives.
The First Lady says that the local STEM program will develop in participants' familiarity with technology and potential spark creativity in that sector, whilst boosting literacy.
There was a scorpion with 2 propellers and pincers that were spinning as the scorpion moved, and things like that. So it really excited me and got me thinking about how we can use STEM in specific education areas to help people maybe who might be illiterate.
The STEM program in the East Coast Demerara communities have benefited 140 youths between the ages of 10 to 14. This makes way for the establishing of STEM clubs across Guyana. I'm Neola Damon for Government News Brief.
The chairman of the Public Utilities Commission, PUC, is satisfied with the work of the commission thus far. More in this Gabriela Patram report.
The PUC has from January to September 2016 been able to secure over $10 million in credit for consumers who would have made complaints against utility companies and received satisfactory results. For the corresponding period last year, the PUC accumulated about $17.65 million for customers, according to Justice Person. The PUC chairman says he is satisfied with the work of the commission, noting that there is always room for improvement.
There was a total of $201,725. This is $201,725.83 in credits awarded as seen in Table 5. Note the credits awarded in September are not necessarily respected. So for instance, you get here now, GPL, the Georgetown office. For GPL, $20,000 for the month. GT&T, $54,000 credits. GWI, $72,000. Digicel, nothing. $147,000. From January to September, that we get for the whole year now. From GPL, $9,819,883 credits. For GT&T, $797,000. GWI, $135,000. making a total of $10,753,202 credit for the consumers.
The chairman explains that consumers do not receive money from companies, but a credit balance is established, and little by little the credit balance will go down, thus highlighting the do not pay bills that consumers receive. The PUC receives an average of 18 complaints per month from GPL customers, 43 per month from GTT customers, and 2 per month from GWI customers.
Each one of the companies, they have their own system geared to receive complaints, for receiving complaints. So eventually they find well, nobody coming there to complain. So they don't pay much interest on that aspect.
The PUC's mission is to ensure that regulated utility companies offer an efficient service to consumers at a reasonable cost. Its vision is to create an environment in which there is universal access to service in the public sector, as well as a high quality of service that is beneficial to all stakeholders. For the Government News Brief, I'm Gabriela Patram.
Large-scale manufacturing and packaging of black pepper, turmeric, ginger, and nutmeg is set to become a reality as NARI intensifies spice crop production. Delicia Haynes has the details.
The National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, NARI, says spices are now being produced on a semi-commercial scale. Guyana is importing black pepper, turmeric, ginger, and nutmeg. Based on market potential, research scientist Ramnari Sukna says the institute has expanded spice production efforts.
Large number of spices industry that we have here in Guyana. For example, we have Ricks and Zari, continental groups of companies. We have the Biharis, Edward B. Biharis. They used to bring in all the raw materials from different places, probably Indonesia, Vietnam, India. So instead of doing that, bringing in raw material, we find it to resuscitate the spices program so that our farmers, our companies can benefit here in Guyana.
The spices program in Guyana through NARI was resuscitated in 2008. Prior to that time, in the 1960s, spices were produced on a large scale. In 2017, the institute will begin mass production of turmeric.
We would be kickstarting the processing, the polishing of these turmeric by January, February of 2017. The building is already constructed. We already have all the equipment up there. We are waiting on an engineer from India to turn up and just set up that machine so that we can start the processing.
The resuscitation of the spice program through pilot programs is currently being carried out in 9 of the 10 administrative regions. NARI has planned to expand production of other spices in 2017. For the Government News Brief, I am Delicia Haynes.
The Fairview Airstrip is seen as an important link in Region 9's tourism development. Its renovation and extension are expected to be completed shortly. Here is more in this report. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, in an update on the project, says works are approximately 80% completed. He explains that the extended airstrip will be used for several purposes.
It's actually been extended to over 4,500 square feet, linear feet. That will be able to accommodate most of the aircrafts that fly out to Ogle, save except the international flights. I mean, all the beach crafts, all the islanders, all the the trilanders, and the road with the airstrip will be sealed, so it makes it quite all weather, so we can use it in both the rainy and the dry season.
The minister explains that all the works are undertaken by members within the community. He adds that the idea is to expand the Awakarama community's capacity as a tourist resort and to facilitate weekend trips.
To make it an airstrip move from one category to another, you have to do several things, which is a surrounding roadway so that you can access it from all sides. It has to be fenced. You have to put up all the requisite navigational aids. And in addition, we'll be putting up a terminal building and arrival buildings, eco-friendly, in keeping with the Awakarama team.
The Public Infrastructure Minister says his ministry is working assiduously to provide improved infrastructure across Guyana. That has brought us to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on Gina's website. Gina has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be informed as the news unfolds. Do join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur, thanking you for watching.